Yo, 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 what is up, YouTube? BK, Brad Kellner. Today is Monday, June 14th, 2021, and we are live on YouTube. Hope everyone had a great weekend. You probably did if you're a Texas fan. Hope everyone had a great Monday. You probably didn't because Mondays are terrible. But we're live. Appreciate y'all stopping by. We'll give people a couple of seconds to file in here. I'm going to retweet this from the Horn Twitter account so everybody knows what's going on tonight. We're talking Texas baseball. We're talking Texas football. Massive weekend for both on the 40 acres. Texas baseball punching another ticket to Omaha. 37 trips to the College World Series for the Longhorns. It sounds made up. It's unbelievable. 37 trips to Omaha for Texas. The next closest team is Miami. They've got 25 trips to the College World Series. It's just ridiculous what this baseball program has been over the years and what it continues to be. And this past decade is supposedly been a bad decade for Texas baseball, and they've still made it to Omaha 4 times. Remarkable. Great job by David Pierce. Great job by the players. They've been dominant, and Texas is the highest remaining seed in this NCAA tournament. And the Longhorns await the winner of Notre Dame and Mississippi State, which is going on right now. I think Mississippi State is up 11-5. So it's looking like the Bulldogs. Mississippi State, of course, beat Texas in Arlington back in the opening weekend of the season. So you got some revenge for Texas. I was hoping to be Notre Dame because I think Mississippi State's better than Notre Dame. So would have preferred the easier opponent, but right now it's looking like Mississippi State. You've got a chance at revenge if you're Texas. But I'll give you a score update. Still some time left in that game in Stark Vegas. But Duty Noble, their ballpark is rocking, man. What an atmosphere out there. What an atmosphere it was at the Dish, too, this weekend. I was out there last night. More than 7,200 in attendance and a bunch more outside the stadium as well. It was ridiculous. The loudest I've ever heard the Dish. The loudest I've ever heard the Dish. And I haven't been to as many games as a lot of people have. But, man, even some of the old heads, even some people who have been going to Texas games for years say that the crowd last night and the crowd on Saturday would rival any crowds that we've ever had at the Dish. Just a tremendous atmosphere. And you could tell South Florida was flustered. They were flustered. The pitchers couldn't throw strikes at all. They were throwing behind Texas guys. They were throwing under Texas guys. They were throwing over Texas guys. And 12 walks last night for the South Florida pitching staff. Talked about it on the show last week. None of the South Florida players had ever played in an environment anywhere close to what the Dish was going to be. And they were rattled last night without question, especially the pitching staff. Give Texas credit, timely hits all night long and taking advantage of those mistakes by South Florida. Texas, the offense picked up Tristan Stevens, not Tristan Stevens' best night at all. He had command issues early on. Walked a couple of guys, hit a guy in the first inning. South Florida was up 2-0. But as we've seen from this Texas team all season long, unbelievable resilience from this Longhorn group. Veteran team, a lot of experience, great leadership. And these guys have each other's backs. It's really, really impressive. Tristan Stevens has picked up his offense a lot this year. Last night, he didn't have his best stuff. And he said that he didn't have his best stuff. But his offense bailed him out last night. And Texas puts up a 12 spot en route to the series clincher. Give some love to Eric Kennedy, too, for the walk-off on Saturday. You talk about resilience, right? Tense moment at the Dish on Saturday. You're up 3-0 going into the 9th. You've got Tanner Witt on the mound. You feel great. It's going to be an easy win, a game 1 shutout, all good. And then South Florida hits 2 deep balls in the top of the 9th. And, we got a goal. Vegas just scored against Montreal. Got the 4 screens going tonight. That atmosphere is electric in Vegas, by the way. That looks incredible. That's a bucket list thing for me. I feel like it should be a bucket list thing for every hockey fan. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So South Florida ties the game up at 3 in the top of the 9th, and they've got all the momentum. 2 quick outs in the bottom of the 9th. Silas Ardoin reaches via an error, and then Eric Kennedy, the 9-hole hitter, comes through. I mean, crushed a double over the center fielder's head. And you knew as soon as that thing hit the ground that Silas Ardoin, even with catcher speed, was going to be able to score from first. He got a great jump, of course, with 2 outs. He was going on contact, and he scored. So that right there, I mean, great moment for Texas. And I said it on the show. It might sound weird, but I'm glad Texas played in a game like that on Saturday. Stress-free wins are nice. Yesterday was awesome, and the 3 wins in the regional last weekend were great. I mean, sign me up for any of those. But realistically, when you get to Omaha, you're going to be playing more games like you did on Saturday than games like you did yesterday. So it's good for Texas that in the postseason, they had plenty of close games and down to the wire games during the regular year. But in the postseason, with all the pressure on, they were able to deliver in a close game, make timely hits, make timely pitches to win a heart-stopping type of game. And that's what next week, the next couple of weeks, hopefully, are going to be for this team. So resiliency on both days for Texas, and everybody contributed. Like we've seen from this bunch all season long, everybody contributed for Texas, and it was a hell of a time, man, hell of a party. And we knew pretty much after the third inning that last night's game was over, right? It was a 2.5-hour-long party at the Dish, and then, the party went on for another couple of hours out in left field. I stayed out with those guys till a little past midnight, but I'm sure they were out there way longer than that. There were still 100-plus people partying out there when I left. So great crowd, atmosphere made a difference. Texas had a home field advantage this weekend, and it made a difference. It really did. Texas, the better team than South Florida. They beat that team in a neutral site, no question, but to have that extra boost, the players talked about it. David Pierce talked about it. Pretty damn special. All right, checking y'all's comments. By the way, we'll take your questions. We'll make this a Q&A as well. Any Texas baseball stuff, any Texas football stuff y'all want to talk about, let me know. Texas basketball stuff too, whatever's on y'all's minds, hit me up in the comment section. Appreciate y'all stopping by tonight. Please like this video if you haven't yet, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Harrison saw me at the ball game. Sweet. Yeah, they were, always great going out to the Dish, man. Run into so many people. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, scrolling through the comments. Cole says, just got back from vacation. Welcome back, welcome back. Trey Faltini continues to impress. Absolutely, Glenn. Yeah, Trey Faltini, a couple of big hits, right? A couple of RBI doubles for him in the first couple of innings yesterday. Not thrilled by his inability to get bunts down in those at-bats. But in one of those at-bats, I should say, but he made up for it by delivering an RBI double. And you're getting production 1 through 9 in this order. Trey Faltini's been red hot all postseason long. He's your 7-hitter. Silas Ardoin has put together a bunch of good at-bats as of late. Eric Kennedy, the walk-off on Saturday, I think he's sitting over 300 in postseason play thus far. The bottom of the order has been really, really good. And there's not an easy out. I've been saying this all year, but it's really coming to fruition right now. There's not an easy out in this Texas lineup. And we saw that this weekend, and we've seen that all postseason long because the bottom third is absolutely getting the job done. So, tip of the cap to Trey Faltini, man, for delivering in a big way yesterday. Arch Manning was in Austin over the weekend. That was pretty damn cool. We'll get to some football stuff here in a second, but a massive recruiting weekend for Sark and company. 10 of the top 50 players for the class of 2023 were on campus this weekend. 10 of the top 50, including Arch Manning, who right now is number 4 overall. He's the top-ranked quarterback, but I think he's number 4 overall according to the 24/7 Sports consensus. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he moves up a couple of spots, man. The kid is absolutely legit, and Texas got a visit. He went to Clemson last weekend. He was at SMU midweek last week, then obviously at Texas this past weekend, and then he's going to Alabama and Georgia. Those are his other 2 visits coming up this summer. So class of 2023 kids, still a couple of years of high school ball for Arch Manning, but by all accounts, Texas did really, really well. And I saw Mike Roach of Horns 24/7 say that the Manning family was really impressed. Not just Arch, but Cooper and the entirety of the Manning family was really impressed by what Texas was selling this weekend. I heard a lot of good things from a lot of recruits, part of 22 and 23 who were here this weekend. It feels like a different vibe. And I know we said that about Tom Herman when he got here after Charlie Strong, but we knew Tom Herman's personality. A little brash, a little arrogant, a little cocky. And Steve Sarkisian, I think, a much easier guy to get along with. And I think that's going to resonate with players, but I also think that's going to resonate more with families too. Look, ultimately, if Arch Manning comes to Texas, it'll be because the Longhorns are playing well on the field this year and next, right? I'm glad Texas is in the mix. It sounds like Texas has a great shot right now to land Arch Manning, but once again, we're still a year and a half away before he has to put pen to paper. Texas could say all the right things and recruit the hell out of Arch Manning and his family, but if the Longhorns go 7-5 the next 2 seasons, then he's not coming here. Arch Manning wants to play on Sundays. He wants to be a high-round draft pick in the NFL draft. if Sark doesn't show that he can develop talent here at Texas, and if Sark's offense doesn't look anywhere close to what his offense looked like at Alabama, then Arch Manning's not coming here. Simple as that. And that's what it is with Quinn Ewers, too. I mean, Quinn Ewers is class of 22. Obviously, less of a shot that you get him to flip from Ohio State, but that's what these recruits are looking for. It's very easy to negatively recruit Texas right now. The proof is in the pudding. They're not winning games. They're not developing blue chip talents. And certain guys don't want to be a part of that. I don't blame them. Certain guys, most of these guys who are 4- and 5-star kids, they want to play on Sundays. And they want to be drafted in the NFL. And Texas is not doing a good job of developing talent. You guys know this. I'm not breaking any news to anybody. But that's what's going to determine whether or not Arch Manning comes to Texas. I'm glad the Longhorns are in the mix. That is all because of Steve Sarkisian. Give A.J. Milwee, the quarterback coach, some credit too. Apparently he has done yeoman's work on Arch Manning's recruitment thus far. But once again, if Texas struggles and the offense doesn't look good the next 2 seasons, then Arch Manning's going to end up at Clemson or Bama or somewhere else where he knows he's going to be developed. But man, I'm so tired of that conversation, the lack of development conversation. And we're seeing all of these articles coming out. It's that time of the year where you're seeing all these development articles and blue chip articles, and it's frustrating to be a Texas fan at this time. Every year. Texas Football Talk. Appreciate the hardest working man in UT Sports. Thanks, brother. Thank you, guys. Y'all follow Texas Football Talk if you don't. Those guys put out great content all the time. They work their ass off, too. Appreciate the love. Matt's in the building. Did Mississippi State get the cowbell tradition before us? Yeah, they've been I'm okay with not having the cowbell tradition. I've never been to a Mississippi State game in baseball or football, but golly, that's got to get annoying very quickly. And it's obviously, it creates a great home field advantage because it annoys the hell out of the other team, I'm sure. But, man, I feel like as a fan, I'd get pretty sick of that quickly. So I'm cool with Mississippi State doing that and Texas not doing that. How great was it to see Arkansas lose, guys? That was fantastic. They won the first game of that super regional 21-2. I figured that thing was over in 2. And they lose 6-5 in game 2 and then 3-2 in game 3. That was awesome. I was out in left field actually before the game yesterday, and we were watching the end of the Arkansas-NC State game on a couple of phones out there, and we all started celebrating pretty hard when NC State recorded the last out. Props to them. Huge underdogs. They found a way to go into Arkansas and beat the number 1 team in the country. But, I'll always root against Arkansas. Every Texas fan will always root against Arkansas, and the Hogs were the prohibitive favorite to win it all. So you knocked them out. Good news for Texas. Even though they would have been on the other side of the bracket, still great news for Texas, the Omahogs. That made it even better that they have that Omahog sign right behind home plate on the padding back there. And they don't get to Omaha. You're seeing NC State dogpile right in front of the Omahog sign. That was fantastic. That's a dumb bit. Omahogs. And Vandy boys, too. I hate all that stuff. I'm glad we don't stoop to that level of corniness. All right. What else do we have? What else do I want to talk about? What do y'all want me to talk about? We'll roll for another 20 minutes or so. But I want this to be about y'all, whatever's on y'all's mind. Trying to think of some other Texas football recruiting nuggets. The Longhorns got to commit this weekend, which was nice. Anthony Jones, 3-star athlete from Nevada. There's the West Coast connection for Sark, man. California, Arizona, Nevada, Sark's going to hold those states down. We want him to take care of Texas first, of course. But Sark's got the West Coast connects, man. That's where he played. That's where he grew up. Obviously, he spent a lot of time coaching there as well. And we knew when we hired Sark that he was going to bring that to the table. And we're seeing that. Malik Murphy, of course, California kid. Anthony Jones. I think you've got 1 or 2 more West Coast kids who are a part of the 2022 class right now. Who am I missing? Oh, Zach Swanson, the defensive lineman. I think he's an Arizona kid, if memory serves. And then in the long snapper from Arizona, too. So that's 4 West Coast commits for Texas in the class of 2022 so far. They've got 10 total commits. 4 of them have come from those 3 West Coast states that Sark has great connections with, or to, whatever's grammatically correct. But Anthony Jones, 48th ranked athlete in the country, not super highly touted on the recruiting trail, but had offers from Oregon, Miami, amongst other schools. And give Pete Kwiatkowski some credit for this one. Anthony Jones talked about it. He did an interview with 24/7 Sports after his commitment, and he said his relationship with Pete Kwiatkowski is why he committed to Texas. PK not known as being an ace recruiter, but he was able to land Anthony Jones. And Jones actually was committed to Washington when Kwiatkowski was still there a couple of months ago. He decommitted when PK came to Austin, so he felt like Texas had a good shot, but PK and company were able to close the door. And I saw Anthony Jones take to Twitter after he announced his commitment and said that his recruitment is 110% closed. I don't know how you can get more than 100%, but he seems locked in. Hadn't put pen to paper yet, but he seems locked in. So love that. Love to see Pete Kwiatkowski close the deal on a recruit. I don't even think Anthony Jones is going to take his remaining visits that he had scheduled this summer. So 10 commitments now for the class of 2022. By the way, Jones plays both ways. Had 37 tackles. I think he's contributed more on defense in high school, but he's one of those edge rusher / tight end types. Kind of a Jatavion Sanders light. He's not the talent that JT Sanders is, at least not yet. But, there's a chance that when he gets here, he's going to try to play both ways. But once again, Anthony Jones talked about his relationship with Pete Kwiatkowski being a big part of the reason why he chose Texas. You have to assume that Texas is going to try him out on defense, or at least PK is going to want to try Anthony Jones out on defense. But man, that picture that Michael Huff tweeted out on Saturday gave me goosebumps talking about recruiting. I mean, Texas pulled out all the stops this weekend. And this one picture that Huff Daddy tweeted out, I'm sure y'all have seen this. If not, I retweeted it, but go check out Michael Huff's Twitter account. You should follow him if you don't already. But Earl Campbell, Vince Young, Brian Arakpo, Derek Johnson, Jamal Charles, Selvin Young, Michael Huff, Matthew McConaughey, Steve Sarkisian. All of them in one picture. I think that's everybody. I might be missing a Longhorn legend or two, but that's awesome. Imagine if you're a recruit, you walk in the room and all of those guys are there. Holy shit, man. I would have signed. I grew up a Texas fan, so I'm a little biased, but I would have signed right then and there. I'm committed. Let's go. And that was awesome. And that's what Pete Carroll did at USC. When Sark was on Pete Carroll's staff in the early 2000s at SC, Pete Carroll did a great job of that, man. Snoop Dogg and Will Ferrell. I mean, he brought out all the celebrities, all the famous USC alumni, and he brought them to his recruiting events. So tip of the cap to Sark for learning from Pete Carroll, one of the best college football coaches of this generation. And, yeah, Texas pulled out the stops right there. That's genius. Hopefully this coming weekend, Texas will do the same thing. Because this past weekend, more of a junior weekend, right? More high-profile class of 2023 kids were in Austin. This coming weekend, a bigger weekend for the class of 2022, this current cycle of kids. Hopefully all those Longhorn legends, maybe a couple of more, will be on campus this weekend because I'm telling you, man, that's awesome, especially if you grew up in the state of Texas. You know those dudes. Oh, Notre Dame just hit a home run. What's the score here? We getting close? 11-7. The Irish are inching closer. Top of the 7th inning. Still some time for Notre Dame to complete this comeback. KD's probably going nuts right now. Oh, that's a big boy who just went deep. And he pimped it too. Awesome. All right, not done yet in Stark Vegas. Maybe a chance that the Fighting Irish can win that Starkville Super Regional and move on to the College World Series to take on Texas. By the way, Sunday night, 6 o'clock, is Texas's first game in Omaha. They announced that a couple of hours ago. So 4 opening round games, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. The Longhorns will play the 4th and final one of those. Matt Reynolds in the building. What's up, Matt? Good to hear from you, brother. Fat Sal softball. We talking Fat Sal softball? Our beer league softball team named after the now former Austin restaurant Fat Sal's. R.I.P., man. Pour some out for Fat Sal's. What a spot. Yeah, beer league softball coming back. The world opening up. The world's open. COVID's done. With what happened here this weekend, with what I saw at the Dish, we're good. It's fun, man. That atmosphere would have been awesome regardless of COVID, but with what we've all been through over the last 16 months, That made it even more special. Patrick, thanks for the love, man. Appreciate you tuning in. The triple option with RBKD, weekdays from 3 to 7. Myself, lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers, and Kevin Dunn. Did I see CDC take the Jell-o shot? Yeah, I was 5 feet away from Chris Del Conte when he took the Jell-o shot. Actually was taking a shot myself when CDC took that shot. That was awesome. CDC, the dude's unreal. I mean, the job that he's done here in Austin, he's been here for less than 4 years, and the impact that he's left on the entire athletic department is ridiculous. He talked about it. When he got here, he wanted all of his teams to compete in the top 10 year in and year out, and Texas is coming off. They're still in it, right, with baseball still playing. This has been the best athletic year for Texas athletics in decades, guys. They're crushing it. 3 national championships, which is the most since the 89-90 academic year. You've got like a dozen teams that finished in the top 10 this year. It's ridiculous. Obviously, the fundraising has been superb. South End Zone Project, Moody Center. I mean, pretty much every athletic program has been touched in some form or fashion by Chris Del Conte, whether it's a coaching hire or facilities upgrades or both. No stone left unturned for CDC. And, oh, yeah, he's taking Jell-o shots after Texas clinches a trip to Omaha. And he's been so welcoming to the left field crew. And he's supportive. It's not just – he doesn't just let it happen. He, loves it. He embraces it, and he appreciates the guys out in left field. And I know the players do and the coaches do, and deservedly so. Those guys are awesome, and they give the Dish a great home field advantage. But, yeah, I was right there with CDC as he took that Jell-o shot, man. Badass. I don't know how many athletic directors in the country are doing anything close to that. Hey, a super chat. Appreciate the love. I just got through to YouTube. I'm now a part of their partner program. I said program for y'all. That's the type of content you can only find on the YouTube channel. Appreciate the love. Shirkles, the Google Scholar. I love that. What are the chances Notre Dame joins a G5 for the auto bid? For the college football playoff in terms of expansion? I don't know, man. Their AD, Jack Swarbrick, seems pretty married to not joining a conference. If they do join a conference, it'll be a Power 5 conference. Like any Power 5 conference will take Notre Dame. And I can't imagine they would go to a G5 league, right? There's just not enough benefit in that. But it sounds like for right now, Shirkles, Notre Dame wants to stay independent, even though the proposed college football playoff would not allow Notre Dame to be a top 4 seed since they can't qualify as a conference champion, which I think is ridiculous. I think Notre Dame should be in a conference, but I also don't think you should hold that against them. If they're the best team in college football and everybody knows it, they should be able to be the 1 seed. But I'd say right now, no. We'll see what happens, though. If this proposal comes to fruition and Notre Dame gets pissed that they're left outside the top 4 a couple of years in a row, then maybe they do join a conference. But I don't think it's going to happen in the super near future. But thank you for the super chat. That's awesome, man. Appreciate that. Allows me to produce more content for y'all. And I try to read most comments, but I'll definitely read the super chat comments. So thank you for the love. All right, scrolling through. Yeah, Rod Babers called him Anthony Johnson, not Anthony Jones earlier today. That was pretty funny. No, not a big fan of the Omaha Horns thing. I prefer the University of Texas at Omaha if we're talking Texas baseball. But Omaha Horns actually came to fruition. Omaha Hogs did not. And Texas has been to more than half of the College World Series. Arkansas has not. So if anybody's going to be in Omaha, whatever, it'd be Texas. It would be Texas. Can you meet? Yeah, I would love to do Jell-o shot with you and CDC. That'd be awesome. We'll try to make that happen at some point. David Pierce has to win the Natty to keep his job. No, he does not. I mean, at some point he's going to have to win a Natty if he wants to be here as long as Aggie or Gus or Dish or Falk were here. But he doesn't have to win the Natty this year to keep his job. Absolutely not. Now, if Texas goes 2 in barbecue in Omaha, I don't even want to say that. Speak it into existence. But if that happens, then yeah, there will be some frustration in this fan base. And there will be some Longhorn fans questioning whether or not David Pierce is the man for the job, because that'll be 2 trips to Omaha in 5 years, which is great. Basically 4 years, because last year it didn't happen. But 0 wins in Omaha would would create some doubt amongst this fan base, very passionate fan base. And whether it's fair or not, yeah, if Texas goes 2 in barbecue, some of the diehard baseball fans would be asking questions. But no, he doesn't have to win the national championship this year to keep his job, Texas Savage. That's a hot take. It's a hot take and a half right there, brother. But I appreciate you stopping by. Finally caught alive. What's up, Sparty Cruz? What are the Horns stand with Cam Newberry and now Jordan Hudson? Yeah, great news. Jordan Hudson decommitting from Oklahoma earlier today. Texas now has the top-ranked class in the Big 12. I think Oklahoma, before the Hudson decommitment, was the 6th-ranked class in the country and the number 1 class in the Big 12. And then after the Hudson decommitment news broke, OU dropped to number 11 and number 2 in the Big 12. And Texas jumped up a spot from number 8 to number 7. Still a long way to go in this cycle, of course, but we'll take that. We'll take anybody decommitting from Oklahoma. And Jordan Hudson's a stud. Really, really talented wide receiver. I know he's visiting SMU, and he's got a great relationship with Rashad Samples, who is an ace recruiter for the Mustangs. So SMU still very much in the mix. And Jordan Hudson's a DFW kid, plays his high school ball at Garland, not too far away from SMU. So I think right now it's probably Texas and SMU. And it's funny. Decommitment graphics crack me up, by the way. I don't know if y'all saw Jordan Hudson's tweet, but he had a decommitment graphic that accompanied his iPhone notes statement that said he was decommitting from OU. And in the decommitment graphic, Jordan Hudson's picture was him with his horns down. So maybe that's a bit. Maybe he's just trying to send a fake message. I don't know what to make of that. I did think that was weird, but from the people I've talked to, Texas still has a shot at Jordan Hudson. But I did find that a little bit eerie. And if Jordan Hudson does go to Texas, Oklahoma fans are going to have some fun with that picture. But I think Texas has a shot with Jordan Hudson. But once again, SMU very much in the mix. I think we still have a long way to go with Jordan Hudson. This Hawks-Sixers game is getting close. 2-point game with just a couple minutes to go. Cam Dewberry. I still think A&M's the front runner right now for Cam Dewberry. But Dewberry was here in Austin over the weekend. Unofficial visit, I think. And I got to do some more research. I got to do some following up with some sources. But it's good that he was here. I think Texas still has a shot. But if I had to guess right now where Dewberry's going, I would say A&M. And I think most, if not all, of the crystal ball projections on 24/7 have Dewberry going to A&M. Hercules. What did I say? Shirkles? Hercules, like Hercules. If you're going to drop a super chat, I should at least get your name right. My bad on that. Thank you for the love, Hercules. Appreciate you. Am I in favor of an Aggie versus Longhorn Bowl matchup? Yeah. I mean, I'd prefer a regular season matchup. I would love Texas and A&M to play yearly again. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're getting any closer to that happening. But I'd be in favor of that. And right now, the only way it can happen is through a bowl game. And hell, the SEC seems hell-bent on preventing that from happening. So the only way Texas and Texas A&M could play right now, at least it seems, is if those two teams met in the college football playoff, which hopefully Texas can get there. I don't care who they play. If they're in the playoff, hell yeah, sign me up for that. Obviously, a UT A&M playoff game would be nuts, absolutely insane, especially if it's a first-round game to where it's on one of the campuses. Holy shit, man. That would be great. But, yeah, they should play. I'm more in favor of a regular season matchup, Jesse, but I'll take what I can get. All right. I'll read a couple more of y'all's comments before we get out of here. Thanks for the love. Appreciate you guys stopping by. There's a ton of people here. There's like 70-plus people watching right now. So if you guys have any questions about anything you want me to talk about, let me know. I'm here for y'all. We'll roll for a little bit. We'll get some recorded videos out, too, throughout the course of this week. But please like this video if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. I don't think I mentioned Last Stand hats. You've seen the discount code scrolling across the bottom of your screen. But BK10 at checkout to get 10% off your purchase of any Last Stand hat. Hopefully he's got an updated Omaha collection. I have a Last Stand hat that says, it's like a Texas baseball hat, and it says 36 trips to Omaha. Tweeted out a picture earlier today. Need a new one. Need an updated one. That's a yearly tradition right there for Texas. My guy Mike Murphy's going to have to change that hat every year. I hope. Let's see. Any O-line recruits looking good? Yes. I mean, look, Texas completely whiffed on the offensive line class in the class of 2021. It was a historically good O-line class in Texas in 2021, and Texas whiffed on pretty much everybody. The Brockermeyers, of course, come top of mind. Donovan Jackson as well. That is the Herb Hand effect. And also Tom Herman being on the hot seat didn't help. But Texas is doing a much better job in terms of offensive line recruiting in 2022. At least they're off to a much better start for the class of 2022 than they were in 2021. What is baseball recruiting? I don't want to think about baseball recruiting. We're still playing, baby. We're still playing. All right, Herb and. Yeah, we don't like to pronounce the H. He's not deserving of the H's in his name. Herb and, as we like to call him. Man. All right, 1-point game, Philadelphia over Atlanta. It is a Back to the Future DeLorean on the wall. Good call. Great catch there. See the quote. If my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit. Big Back to the Future fan. I nerd out on Back to the Future. I don't know why. I really enjoy those movies. I got the DeLorean up there as a gift from the moms a couple years back. What else, guys? What else? Hot take, OU not winning the Natty during UT's worst football stretch is more embarrassing than Texas sucking during that stretch. We do have the last Natty appearance. I don't think it's more embarrassing than what Texas has done. I'd rather have OU's last decade than Texas's last decade. But I see what you're saying. I mean, Oklahoma missed out on a number of opportunities. Maybe they've got a shot this year, though, guys. They're going to be really good. Spencer Rattler, the best returning quarterback in college football. That defense is very, very talented. You've got a couple of potential first-rounders on that OU defense. I still think Texas is probably a year away from being like a 10-win conference championship contending type of team. If everything goes right this year, they've got a shot to get to Arlington, but I don't think Texas is on Oklahoma's level this year. I think most people out there would agree with me, unless you're diehard Kool-Aid drinking Longhorn fan. Yeah, no, give me OU's last decade over Texas's last decade. But it does suck for them that they couldn't turn any of those Big 12 titles into national championships. Hell, they never even made it to a national title game. I know that hurts my Oklahoma fan friends. But yeah, no, what we've done is way more embarrassing than what they've done. I mean, 4 coaches, more than 10 offensive coordinators, dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of position coaches over the last decade, losing seasons, Texas Bowl and Alamo Bowl appearances seemingly year in and year out. Yeah, I'm sorry to even talk about that. It's frustrating. Very frustrating. Jazz or Clippers tonight? I'm going Clippers. Cousins in on the Clippers too. I think LA evens up this series. Oh, final minute. Atlanta up 1 over Philly. Yeah, Clippers -5 is what the cousin is on. Did I give up the green screen? No, I did not. Just for the live videos, I sit on my couch so I can watch sports. I usually do the live videos at night when a bunch of sports are going on. The recorded videos I post at night, but I usually record them earlier in the day. So the green screen is not gone. I also have the Vince Young SI framed cover plaque. Well, I described that poorly. Y'all have seen it if you've watched my videos. That's not gone either. But too many sports on tonight. And I don't get to see any of my screens if I sit in front of the green screen. This is the best coaching staff in my memory. No. I know everyone hates on Greg Davis, but in the 05 to 09 coaching staff, and I know there were some different faces on that staff, but I can't put a staff I haven't seen ahead of a staff that had Texas competing for national championships. So I feel better about this staff, Sark's initial staff, than I did about any of the Charlie Strong or Tom Herman staffs. That's for damn sure. Especially the initial staffs. I mean, Sark knocked it out the park. I've got a couple of questions. I'm not sold on Andre Coleman. My Notre Dame people aren't sold on Terry Joseph. So those two guys I've got some questions about. But, man, I mean, getting Pete Kwiatkowski from Washington was massive. It's a huge get. Getting Kyle Flood from Alabama. I mean, pretty much stealing half of Nick Saban's coaching staff. That's awesome. And you want as many guys who were a part of creating that offense at Alabama the last 2 years on your staff at Texas. Last year's Alabama offense was the most efficient in the history of college football. I think about what LSU did 2 years ago, what Alabama did, statistically speaking, and by the majority of efficiency metrics was actually better than what LSU did 2 years ago. So getting Sark is obviously huge, but getting some of the other guys who are part of that Bama staff who played a part in that offense's success, massive, massive, massive. So best coaching staff in a while, but not best coaching staff in my memory. National championship pick in baseball. I feel good about Texas, man. I really do. I really do feel good about the Longhorns. They've got so much depth with their pitching staff. I mean, nobody has a 1-2-3 like Texas does. I know Vanderbilt has Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, and that's the best 1-2 punch in the country, but they don't have a number 3 like Pete Hansen. Nobody has a number 3 like Pete Hansen. And Texas's bullpen is better than Vanderbilt's too. So I would love Vanderbilt to lose in the regional round. Well, I call it the regional round, but the early part of the College World Series. They're on the opposite side of the bracket as Texas. Y'all know how it works. It's basically a regional style format on each side, and the winner of those two regionals play in the best of 3 for the national championship. I don't want to see Vanderbilt in the best of 3 because then you got Rocker and Leiter. And those guys scare the hell out of me. I love Ty Madden. I love Tristan Stevens. Those guys are good enough to hang with those 2 Vanderbilt pitchers, but they're not as good as those 2 Vanderbilt pitchers. You got a couple of top 5 draft picks with Rocker and Leiter. So hopefully you avoid Vanderbilt. Now that Arkansas is out, Vanderbilt is your Vegas favorite to win it all. But, man, I feel good about Texas at least getting there, man. Tennessee's not a pushover. They're talented. But I feel like Texas and Vanderbilt are the teams to beat when this thing gets going next Saturday. Is this going to be the weakest SEC we've seen since pre-Tebow? Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about that, Hercules. How weak is the SEC going to be this year? They lost a lot of talent. Alabama's still going to be awesome. I mean, Bryce Young's legit. He's going to pick up right where Mac Jones left off. I would love for Alabama to suck next year for so many reasons, but the fact that Bill O'Brien is there right now, like he replaced Sark, he's the offensive coordinator there. And Nick Saban, every offensive coordinator he's brought in over the last decade has been better than his predecessor. So, like, that's why some people are hesitant with Steve Sarkisian. It's not like Alabama's offense was ass right before Sark got there and all of a sudden they exploded. The offense has been really good, and all of Sark's OC hires have gone on to become head coaches elsewhere at Power 5 schools. It would be hilarious if that trend stops with Bill O'Brien and all of a sudden Bama's offense is terrible and Bama fans want to fire Bill O'Brien. That would crack me up. It'd crack a lot of Texans fans up too. Is it going to be the weakest SEC we've seen since pre-Tebow? I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. A&M, if they get a quarterback, they'll be good. They're still loaded. That defense is going to be top 10 in the country. They've got running backs. They've got receivers. If they find a quarterback, they're going to be really good, guys. They're going to be a top 10 team again. They're going to open the year in the top 10 probably. So they'll be good. LSU's a mess. They'll be better than last year, but I don't know how much longer Ed O's going to hold down that job, which is crazy considering he won a national title 2 years ago. Mississippi School is not quite there yet. Georgia's good. Florida's good. I don't know. I don't think so, Hercules, but I have to go year by year to see to see what the SEC has been since pre-Tebow. I didn't even mean to click on this comment, but I'll read it because I did. Over under on KD's burner accounts. Shoot, you feel for KD a little bit. I know most people don't. But, man, the Nets, no James Harden, no Kyrie Irving tomorrow night for Game 5. They were my pick. They were most people's picks to win it all. But, man, if those two guys can't go the rest of this series, they're not beating the Bucks. They could beat the Bucks with 2 of the 3. I don't think they can beat the Bucks with 1 of the 3. What a gift that would be for Milwaukee if Kyrie and Harden are done. All right, guys. Have I seen Casey Thompson's latest Instagram post? The receivers he's working out with are pros. I know a couple of weeks ago, Casey Thompson was working out with, was it Jarvis Landry, Stephon Diggs? Am I making that up? A couple of NFL guys, a couple of good NFL guys too. I don't know, maybe he's been working out with more NFL guys lately too. That would be dope. I mean, I hope he works out with his receivers here in Austin more, but shoot, learning from NFL guys, never a bad thing. Casey Thompson, he's had a great offseason, and the good thing for him is he's graduated already, so he only has to take 6 hours this fall, and I don't think he's taken any summer classes either. So if you're an undergrad football player, you have to take at least 12 hours, but if you're a grad student, you only need to take 6 hours. So Hudson Card's got a little bit more class to deal with than Casey Thompson does, both this summer and into the fall. So that's something working in Casey Thompson's favor. I've said it a lot. I think Casey Thompson is going to win the job and start for Texas 82 days from now against Louisiana. The question is, does he keep the job over the course of the whole season? We'll wait and see. Oh, yeah, I saw Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham working out at Lake Travis at Cavalier Stadium a couple of days ago. That's pretty cool. It's got to be great for those LT kids, man, to see that. A&M starting to gain some ground on Bryce Anderson. Should we be worried? I still think Texas is in a good spot with Bryce Anderson. I figured A&M would make a push, and they're still going to push. But right now, I think the Longhorns feel good about Bryce Anderson. I'll get back to you on that, Peter. I'll do some digging. I'll do some research. But last I checked and last time I talked to some of the folks behind the scenes, they felt really good about Bryce Anderson ultimately committing to Texas. So we'll see. 4-star safety from Beaumont Westbrook. Unbelievable talent. Will be a huge get for Texas. He's a guy I really want. I think I made a video. I don't know if I made a video or did a segment on the show, maybe both, where I kind of ranked the top 5 guys that I want in the class of 2022. Sans Quinn Ewers, because Quinn Ewers is obviously number 1. And Bryce Anderson made the cut. Got to get DBU back to being DBU. And also, I don't feel great about the safety position at Texas this year. And you lose B.J. Foster and you lose Brendan Schooler after this year. Texas is going to need some help at safety. And Bryce Anderson could be one of those guys who maybe you can plug and play in as a true freshman. So I would love to get him to Texas. But yeah, I'll get back to you on that, Peter. I'll do an update on Bryce Anderson here in a couple of days. All right, a couple of quick score updates before I get out of here. Wow, Embiid just missed an easy layup that would have given the Sixers a lead with less than 10 seconds to go. How did he miss that? How does that happen, Joel? Mississippi State up 11-7 on Notre Dame, top of the 9th, but the Irish do have 2 men on with nobody out. So the tying run is on deck. Once again, the winner of that game will take on Texas Sunday at 6 o'clock on the Horn. Also ESPN 2. That would be huge. I might stay with you all to the end of this game so we can enjoy this together if Notre Dame completes this comeback. They were down 10-2 at one point. Am I making that up? 11-7 now. Any word on commit from recruiting weekend? Anthony Jones, talked about him a little bit earlier. 3-star from Nevada, plays both ways. I think a guy who wants to play both ways when he gets here to Austin, but Pete Kwiatkowski has been recruiting Anthony Jones hard. And Jones was once committed to Kwiatkowski at Washington decommitted when PK took the job at Texas, and now he commits to PK here in Austin. So he's the lowest graded recruit that Texas has committed for the class of 2022 right now, but Anthony Jones still have a year of high school ball to play, and he had some other big offers too. Miami and Oregon, I know, were other visits that Jones either had taken or was going to take before the Texas commitment, but Texas has locked him in. Hey, all right, what else? What else do y'all have? Anything else? Should I get out of here? Please like this video. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. There's still a bunch of people in here, so I don't want to leave just yet. There's a big strikeout for Mississippi State. One away. Notre Dame's best hitter's up. The guy who went deep last time. Nikos Kavadas. Is that this guy's name? This guy's huge. He's a mountain of a man. I would love for this guy to go deep here too. All right, I lied. I'm getting out of here. I'm done. I'm done for the night. Thank y'all for watching. Appreciate the love as always. I'm out of stuff to say, and you guys are out of stuff to ask. So we'll do this again soon. But thank you guys. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Use code BK10 at checkout. Will Sanders break the tight end curse? Yes, he will. Jatavion Sanders will break the tight end curse. And hey, I told y'all I'd keep this video going until the end of the Mississippi State Notre Dame game, and the game just ended. Double play. Mississippi State advancing to the College World Series. So Texas will take on Mississippi State Sunday at 6 o'clock. Notre Dame could not complete the comeback. So the Longhorns lost to Mississippi State, the opening series of the season back in Arlington in February after the ice storm. They get a chance to get some revenge. All right, thank y'all for watching. LastStandHats.com, the sponsor, BK10 at checkout. I think I said all of that. Appreciate the love. Listen to the triple option with our BKD weekdays from 3 to 7. And until next time, y'all stay safe, y'all stay healthy, and hook 'em.